I was in the air pollution group, and so I specifically focused on indoor and local air pollution, and my members were Shannon, Eric, and Trevor. So some objectives to take away from this PowerPoint is to understand what air pollution is and learn the major indoor air pollutants and hazards and their health effects. Understand local, specifically Iowa City pollution and their combative efforts, and then learn how to prevent indoor air pollution. So what is indoor air pollution and indoor air quality? So air pollution is the release of pollutants or harmful chemicals into the air, and indoor air pollution would just be that, but inside. And according to the EPA, indoor air quality refers to the air quality within and around buildings and structures, especially as it relates to the health and comfort of building occupants. And then according to the World Health Organization, around 3.8 million people a year die from the exposure to household air pollution, which makes sense because 90% of our lives are spent indoors, and indoor air pollution is 2 to 5 times more, there's 2 to 5 times more air pollution inside than outside. So some of the main hazards of indoor air pollution are asbestos, which is a fiber made of minerals that occurs in soil and rocks. It's commonly used as a fire retardant and insulation in homes and buildings. You're exposed to it when it's disrupted, and then the particles or the fibers are released into the air. I remember in my high school, we had an asbestos problem in our gym, and we weren't allowed to use it for a pretty long time. And then some short-term health effects are shortness of breath, cough, and chest pain. And some long-term health effects are lung cancer, specifically mesothelioma, which construction workers are 5 times more likely to get because they work with asbestos in homes and buildings. And then there's asbestosis, which is a specific disease related to asbestos exposure, which has long-term inflammation and lung tissue scarring. Then mold. Mold is a type of fungus that can be found indoors and outdoors, but outdoor mold really isn't the issue, it's indoor mold. And it likes to grow in moist environments, and you're exposed to it when you breathe in the mold spores in the air. Some short-term health effects are wheezing, coughing, watery eyes, and skin irritation. And some long-term health effects are asthma, memory loss, insomnia, anxiety, depression, trouble concentrating, and confusion. Carbon monoxide is a colorless and odorless harmful gas. Some of the sources that it can come from are leaky chimneys, gas stoves, tobacco smoke, gasoline-powered equipment, and etc. You're exposed to it when you breathe in the fumes. Some short-term health effects are headache, dizziness, shortness of breath, tiredness, and confusion. And some long-term health effects are difficulty thinking, frequent emotional changes, impaired mental state, and loss of coordination, chest pain, and possibly death. The chart to the left shows the long-term health effects, just specifically where they affect in the body. And the diagram on the bottom is just a preventative thing because you can't see or smell or hear carbon monoxide. So the only way you can detect it is if you have a carbon monoxide detector. So volatile organic compounds, or VOCs, are gases that are emitted from certain liquids or solids. There's over 1,000 plus products that can produce volatile organic compounds. Some of them include paints, wood preservatives, aerosol sprays, cleansers, disinfectants, and air fresheners. And while I was making this slide, I was sitting next to a can of Febreze, so I tried to look up what was in Febreze, and they have this list of all the things that they don't put in their product, which is important because the chart on my left explains like how volatile these compounds are. And if you compare them, there are some that they don't use that are on the list. And these health effects are eye, nose, and throat irritation, headaches, loss of coordination, and nausea. Also damage to liver, kidney, central nervous systems, and cancer. And then particulate matter is a mixture of solid particles and liquid droplets found in the air. There's 2 main kinds, PM10, which is a diameter of 10 micrometers or smaller, and then PM2.5, which has a diameter of 2.5 micrometers or smaller. And then the diagram on the left is a picture of like how small they can actually be. So PM10 usually consists of like dust, pollen, mold, and then PM2.5 is way smaller. These are more harmful. They're like combustion particles, organic compounds, and metals. They can come directly from a source like construction sites or fires, or they can come from chemical reactions. Some short-term health effects of particulate matter are eye, nose, throat, and lung irritation, coughing, sneezing, runny nose, and shortness of breath, and then long-term health effects are chronic bronchitis, reduced lung function, lung cancer, and heart disease. So now focusing on local air pollution, specifically in Iowa City. So Iowa City has tried to make like great progress reducing their air pollution by working on climate change. And this is just a timeline of how they've been doing this. So it started when Mayor Wilburn signed the Mayor's Climate Agreement in 2007. Then in 2008, Iowa City joined the Cities for Climate Protection campaign, which urged cities to create policies and put in measures to reduce local greenhouse gas emission, which would then improve air quality and sustainability. After that, Iowa City was the first city in Iowa to complete and participate in the greenhouse gas inventory. Then in 2017, Mayor Throckmorton signed the U.S. Compact of Mayors. This provided a framework and support and information on taking action to reduce greenhouse gas emissions and improve air quality. And all of these combined efforts have given Iowa City a 4-star rating in sustainability tools for assessing and rating communities. Iowa City scored relatively high in most areas. However, it scored the lowest in energy and climate, in the energy and climate area, which just kind of shows that there is still need for improvement to be made on greenhouse gas emissions to then improve our air quality. And then another thing is the one of the main resources they provided to residents was the Climate Action Toolkit. And the document laid out like a guide to help reduce carbon emissions that would lead to adverse health effects, air pollution, and climate change. It has different sections laid out in buildings and transportation, waste adaptation, sustainable lifestyle, and air quality. And then within these sections, it lists detailed ways that residents can help reduce carbon emissions. For example, there's an entire section that goes over how to reduce carbon emissions at home, which is this picture on the right. So air quality index is the EPA system of measuring and reporting air quality. It goes from green, which is good, to like a maroon color, which is hazardous. And the 5 major pollutants that the EPA measures for air quality are ground level ozone, particulate matter, carbon monoxide, sulfur dioxide, and nitrogen dioxide. In Iowa City, you can look up every day what that air quality will be for your specific city that you live in. But for Iowa City yesterday, it was 34, which is good. But the main pollutant in the air was PM 2.5 or particulate matter 2.5. And you can also look up the air quality forecast, which is good for people who have underlying conditions like asthma. And then just some preventative tips for reducing in-home air pollution is proper ventilation. So it's always good to open your windows and doors whenever possible. And it's also important to have proper filters in heating and cooling systems. This right here is a pleated filter, which is better than a non-pleated filter. It helps catch more air pollutants. And then you're supposed to change your filters every 3 months. And then air quality testing is also super important, especially with carbon monoxide, because you can't see, hear, or smell it. So it's important to have one of these in your home. And then they also now, with like more advanced technology, have at-home air quality detectors, which detect more than just carbon monoxide. They also detect particulate matter and other things. So yeah,